Hello Jeeple, welcome back to another episode of Standing Around in a Cold Garage. As you can see, it's snowing again in the UK. Unfortunately, I don't have the GPW anymore to be playing around in the snow like I was last year, which is a bit of a pain. But you know, I've got something even better than playing with a Jeep. I've got working on differentials for 3 weeks. So that's what we've been pretty much doing, guys. So apologies for not doing any videos recently, but differential work is a slow process, as we said, and it's been taking up a lot of time. So we're getting somewhere slowly with it, with a couple of problems, but we'll look into those. Just to keep you updated otherwise, if I didn't mention, the block is back and that's all good. We'll look at that in another video and go through it and everything, and the pros and cons of having your block welded rather than stitched and what have you, especially in this case. But that's really good, so I'm pleased with that, but we'll look at that at a later date. And then other things, guys, is like some blasting stuff, so really nice blasted drums and various other components as well. So they're all waiting for the differentials and the axles to be finished. So that's what I've been working on for 3 weeks, really, okay? And like I said in the previous video, it's slow process, guys. So we're not gonna look at the ins and outs of how you actually do it. We're just gonna cover some of the problems I've had and, you know, just some thoughts on it, okay? So differentials are tricky. They're definitely the trickiest thing to do on a Jeep. Everything else is fairly straightforward, but differentials require thought, time, effort, and preparation, because doing it without those just, you know, it just results in a poorly done job and great difficulty, and in some cases you can't even do it without the correct tools. So it's something you've got to prepare for, which is what we talked about with the correct tools. So the number one thing I found then, guys, is, you know, you might think you can get away with it, and maybe you can. It will be difficult, but maybe you're lucky and maybe you can. But you do need to have honed out old bearings to fit, okay? You don't need to buy brand new ones, okay? Because the wear on old bearings, I found, doesn't make them a million miles different to the brand new bearings, okay? It's very small amounts, even really shagged out old bearings. The wear is not massive. So in this case, you know, we can put up with it. So you don't need to buy new bearings, but you can use old ones. But what you have to do is you have to hone them out, okay? Because you can't be pressing them on and off each time, because that results in it taking, I mean, I've spent 3 weeks doing this so far, but without it, it would be practically impossible, okay? So you've got to hone out the inside diameters of the bearings, especially the carrier bearings, which hold the differential carrier into the case, okay? And the way that I've done it is a fairly straightforward way. Because they're hardened, you can't take them to a machine shop just to machine out the inside diameter. You have to hone them out. So I got one of the standard hones you use for doing a cylinder with or something like that. Put the bearing in the vise, got the drill, and just worked backwards and forwards for 2 days. So I spent 2 days honing out the inside diameters of bearings. And you can't measure the difference with well, you sort of can with a caliper. You know, it's infinitesimal, the difference between it, but it does make the difference between able to press them on with your hands or remove them using the bearing remover and pressing them on using the press and things like that. So it makes the job far simpler. So I'm going to say that honed out bearings for trial fitting is pretty much a requirement for doing this. I don't think you can get away without doing it. Not easily anyway. You can, but it's going to make it so much more difficult, okay? So I spent 2 days honing out bearings, so that was a long time, boring time doing that. Had all sorts of other difficulties and things like that. This carrier has now got a completely new differential, the gears inside it, the axle gears and things like that, and the spider gears, they're all brand new and they're all really good, really tight, so that's really nice. Issues as well I've had is fitting the yoke onto the pinion. It can be very, very tight to get it on there, so you have to work away at the pinion, just cleaning it up, making sure there are no burrs and things like that. Pressing the yoke on multiple times, you know, using the press to push it on, remove it, push it on, remove it, so that it just gets them to mate really nicely, so that you can push it on by hand to get the nut started on the end, so that you can draw the yoke on and draw the whole pinion and bearing stack down together, okay? So that took a long time to do that. There's been various issues which just make it take a really, really long time. But that's the sort of thing you've got to expect. If you're going to work on the differentials, you've got to expect it's going to take a long time and you have to do it properly, okay? But we're getting somewhere slowly but surely, guys. I'm pleased. The pinion is really nice. It's in there with its new bearings and everything like that. So moving on then, and we're left with the issue that I'm having at the moment then, guys, is you've got everything together and you've got your depth set of your pinion and things like that. That's all good. Now the problem I'm having is getting the pattern just right, okay? And I think it's possibly got something to do with the Spicer ring gear and the way that it's made, okay? So you see online all these pictures of how the pattern is supposed to sit directly in the center of the tooth, not too far to one side, not too far to the other, you know, not too far up, not too far down. You put it in the center, that's it, right? Well, I've tried getting it all sorts of different ways, and I can get a really nice pattern which is, you know, in the center, but it's sitting too far up towards the toe, okay? So when it's sitting at the toe, all it says online is increase the backlash. Okay, well that's fine, yeah. But I'm at maximum backlash, but the pattern is directly centralized, so moving the pinion isn't going to assist it as far as I can see. But maybe it is. Maybe I just haven't looked into it enough and tried moving the pinion in too far and too far out. But it just seems that I've got it perfectly centralized, but it's just too far towards the toe. It looks just like the Spicer pictures that they show in their manuals and things like that. But the Spicer pictures show you need just a little bit of gap just at the bottom, just off the toe, where the pattern should sit. And I can't seem to achieve that. And both of them, this is the rear and the front, which is on the floor there, which I thought I'd leave and just move on to the front and see if I could try something differently. They both came out with the pattern perfectly centralized, really nice, you know, set up as per the factory, 2.25 inches down for the pinion, but just with the toe not having that little bit of gap. I'm not sure I can achieve it. I'm not sure whether it's just a limitation of how these gears are cut and how the teeth pattern actually is, because it looks like it should, but it's just not quite right. But I'm not sure, guys. Maybe I need to spend some more time working on it and trying some more things. But it looks like a nice pattern though, you know, perfectly centralized, big wide area of where it's contacting, you know, so it's not going to be pushing off too far to one side or too far to the other side, just not off the toe. So that's where I am at the moment with them, guys, and I've been spending a lot of time taking them apart and putting them back together. And one of the things about it is you do become an expert at doing it, especially with the bearings which pop off easily, because you just whip it out, whip it backwards and forwards. You've got all your tools ready, you know exactly what to do. You become pretty adept at it actually, guys. But just one thing, just before we finish, just to mention, if you're getting a puller to pull the bearings off, guys, like this, get one which has, I've seen snap-on. I think there's a snap-on one. Maybe there are other ones. You guys in America have probably got them, which also have a thing which holds the arms together as well, so when you're pulling, the arms don't try and pull off the bearing, okay? So get one which grips the arms as well, because this one, they try and escape, and that causes no end of hilarity. So yeah, get a better puller than I've got. That's one of the things I should do, really, but I've been using the poor puller. Because the bearing's quite easy to remove, I've just kept with it. But there you go, guys. That's where I am. Just to keep you updated then. Working on the differential. We're getting somewhere, but we're just having difficulty removing that ring gear contact pattern just off the bottom. But we'll see. I think I just need to carry on working at it, really. But just a break at the moment, I think, just to separate myself from it for a while. But that's it for the moment then, guys. I hope you had a good couple of weeks then. I'll get back to you when we've actually got some more progress made with this, but until then, like and subscribe, turn on notifications to keep you updated with the 43 Willys MB project, and I'll see you next time. Have a good couple of weeks. Cheers. I got my delineator, I got my spade, didn't leave that. God, it's cold. It's not screened down weather today, I don't think. Ah, can't even see. Right guys, -4, that's about as far as I can go with the screen down. It's not very impressive, is it? I think I'm getting blasted to pieces. Right, when you put the screen back up, it's important that these latches don't block down, otherwise they smack in. One of mine's a bit, yeah, that one's up, he's out of the way. One of mine's quite loose and comes down. Right.
Oh, Jesus. Blizzard. Right, is it that one? Is it this one? Yeah, that feels alright. That went down okay. It's not stuck under there. It's a nice feature, the windshield on the Jeep, the way it latches down and everything. You know, it's quite good, really. There we go. So this, right, careful to not get your hand stuck in and knock your hand off in the pulley. Look at all this. See how it collects everywhere. Collects on me as well. Yeah, that was an original latch. I bought two, but they only sent one, unfortunately. So this is a reproduction one. It's a bit cheaper, and you can tell, but it's okay. I'll get a proper one. There we go. That's better. I can see. Not getting blasted in the face now. Right then, guys, we'll head back.